Welcome back to Indiebnb. Today's episode is sponsored by David Shapiro around Atlanta Realty. He's the best realtor in Atlanta. I don't know what I got to tell you about him. He's unbelievable. Today we talk to Wolfgang Zimmerman out of Charleston, South Carolina. Tash, what do you think about this episode?
Oh man, Wolfgang bringing the heat, just adding to the Charleston collection, bringing some band of horses in on this episode. Any fans out there? Some more Pete Peterson.
Stay tuned. Roll the motherfucking tape. All right, guys, welcome back into another episode of Indiebnb. Today we are joined by renowned recording specialist down in Charleston, South Carolina, Mr. Wolfgang Zimmerman. Wolfgang, how you doing, man?
And I'm doing pretty good. Just got off work, sitting on my front porch drinking a Modelo. Finally get to put a face to the messages talking to you guys.
Exactly, man. Well, we're excited to have you on. I think you and I have actually met in person, believe it or not, at one of the Crab Claw shows in Atlanta.
Yeah,
way back in the day. So we're excited to get you back on here. And so, man, I mean, like, I know you got the Space Studio down in Charleston. I'm obviously repping right now for the Space. With my T-shirt here, but how'd you get that thing started, and kind of where'd your journey begin with this whole music career?
Yeah, man, it's as far as just my music career began. Like, I loved music so early, and I found out I had rhythm probably when I was like 5 or 6, and I annoyed my entire family and relatives and everybody just beating on tables, and if I could get my hand on some forks or some chopsticks or something, I was always just playing drums on everything. And finally got to where I was like lining up baskets all over the place and doing that. And then my mom and I finally told her, like, I'm ready to have a real drum set. And we were living in an apartment complex. So we mowed lawns together. She was a single mother. And she was like, all right, we'll get a drum set, but me and you're going to have to work for it because I can't afford it. So we ended up mowing lawns for like an entire summer to get my first drum kit. And, but we lived in this apartment complex. So it would be like, we'd piss off all the neighbors. And finally they were like, all right, look, you can't play before 9 o'clock in the morning. You can't play after 9 o'clock at night. So I would just sit in front of the cable box and like wait until 9 o'clock struck and then just play drums like all day. I was obsessed. And then because I was so young, I was probably like 11 when I finally got the drum set. None of my friends played music, and so I would beg my brother, like, please play guitar with me, or like, and he wasn't interested. So then I kind of picked up guitar, and I just didn't really have folks to jam with. So my mom bought me a little tape machine, and it was like a little 4-track Tascam. So I started recording on that, and it just was like, that was kind of what I did when I was at the house. Like, maybe my family would be watching TV, or we would be doing stuff, and as soon as I get done with dinner, I would just like go in my room and start recording music. And then finally, when I got to high school, I had like just a couple different bands that I knew around, like, just be like, hey, you want to come record us? We'll pay you $60 or whatever. So I'd go over to their parents' house and record them. And then the church that I was growing up at, they had a studio and they hired me, and I started working there for like 15, maybe it was $10 an hour to start. Just like working in the studio, and I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. And that was kind of my mentor there was like, look, you're like 5 years away from knowing anything about like just recording. Just all you got to do is dive in, and the answers will start presenting themselves. So I did that, and then by the time I graduated high school, I just bought some recording equipment with, like, when you graduate and you send off like a thing saying like graduation announcement or whatever,
yeah,
and your family sends back money. So I let my family know, like, hey, whatever money you send in, I'm just going to spend it all on recording equipment. I'm not going to college. So, so I did that, and then slowly just started, like, I worked at Pizza Hut for a minute, but other than that, I've pretty much always recorded music. And it was kind of like before, like, right now home recording's huge and everybody does that, but it was kind of before all that stuff was available. and before it was as popular as it is now. So I kind of was able to cash in on some of that vibe and be cheap as hell. Like me and my cousin, we shared a basement in Rock Hill, South Carolina, and we put the studio in there. And I think when we split the basement, it was like $100 each. So all I had to do was make like $300 a month, and like I could eat oodles and noodles or ramen noodles or whatever in McDonald's and like survive, you know. So I was able to do that, and then slowly I started like I met the guys in Susto when they were in this old band Sequoia, and I recorded one of their albums, and that was kind of like my first like regional relative success. Like they were kind of big on MySpace, and that album was able to get me some more clients and stuff like that. And then I moved to Charleston to start Brave Baby with Kean and my cousin, and then we had all our instruments and everything, and Kean found the storage space, and we just called it the space because it was like our practice space. So that was kind of where it started. It started as the Brave Baby practice space / I was just in there recording all the time, and was in there for like 8 years, and we got in all kinds of trouble with like the city and all kinds of stuff. Just scraping by, just like cash or whatever, like playing gigs, doing whatever I could do to just like keep the dream alive. And then finally, a few years ago, we found the new spot, and it was initially called Rialto Row because I was going in on like a record label with some people, but just didn't quite pan out. So, but we ended up just renaming it the Space, and but that was in like 2017 when we finally got the legit spot. And then after that, that was kind of when I started like messing with like the Band of Horses guys and stuff like that. So it's been really fun, and it's been scary as hell. I guess that was a long answer to how to get music, but the biggest thing is I've never given up. I just keep going, and it always works out. So,
dude, you just have grinded. I mean, like that is just a truly, you're playing chopsticks at the table to now you're recording people who, have national to international hits, man. I mean, like that is the ultimate like story from the dream when you're 5 years old to now. I mean, that's awesome to hear.
It's been crazy. And like, I always tell people, because I was talking to a friend the other day who's like trying to turn music into full time. And I was like, if you want to make music full time, you have to ditch your backup plans. You can't have any backup plans, or else when things get tough, you're like, oh shit, I guess I'm going to drive Uber, or I'm going to like, which no disrespect to that. I know plenty of people that drive Uber, but if you have a backup plan, you will resort to it. And I've just never had any backup plans. So like, but I've also seen plenty of times where like I needed $100 and like it magically showed up. Like somebody would call me to record, or like, whenever I was younger, and then just I was able to kind of like keep building and just and I think also the fact that I had to survive. I just worked every day, and I finally have gotten to a more healthy spot with it these past couple of years. I'm a dad now and stuff, so I work like 5 days a week, and I take the weekend to just chill with my family. But before it was like 7 days a week. I would stay up all night. Like I would record anybody. I would record white boy reggae shit to like grimy punk to goth shit, hip hop, like anything. I would record it. It didn't matter. If anybody wanted to work with me, I would do it. And it's still kind of that way. I'll give anybody a shot. If anybody wants to, if they're committed to making a record, then I'm gonna fucking hear their shit all the way through.
Nice. What's the most difficult of those to, kind of sift through and find the greatness in? Those obviously there's, some stuff you probably like some stuff you record and some stuff you may, have it's more of a job, but like what's the stuff that you like are like, this is the hardest one to find the greatest in?
Oh wow. I lately I've been realizing that I have a hard time just recording instrumental music. Like I know people who just want to get together and just make beats and shit like that, and I can do that, but I really care about the song, and so like I really like starting a song from like the acoustic guitar or the piano or like somebody having a vocal hook, and then I can kind of dream over the music and where we're gonna go with it. But I know a lot of people that just like making beats and starting with like just drums and being like, where are we going to build a song off this, or just a guitar part? And that to me is hard. I always start with a melody and like a lyric idea, and then that kind of blasts me off to the next phase of trying to lay it down. And doing the different versions we can do with it. Because like any song, if somebody if it starts on acoustic guitar, it's like you can hear it, or it just starts with a vocal, like a voice memo or something like that. And then you can hear it. Sorry, I have somebody like pulled up in front of my house. Oh, you can hear it all these different ways. Like you could do it like a '50s version. You could do it, a hip hop version or electronic dance. And I get off on all those different options of how to make that work.
Gotcha.
And a lot
Yeah,
of
I'm good.
I was gonna say a lot of times it's just whatever instruments we have around or whatever keyboard somebody brought in. It's like that's what it sounds like because that's all we had.
What when you're in the studio with these people, and obviously you get, based on what you say, you get all kinds of different genres and stuff. But how do you do you take any sort of leadership directional role while you're in there? Do you kind of go like, hey, like I know y'all are like trying to do this with a bridge maybe, and like maybe y'all should try going this way. But do you do any like help kind of on the creative side, or are you just completely like the sonic side of it?
Yeah. I would say the engineering side of it is something I've sort of been thrust into, but it's not necessarily what I'm going to try to do forever. But the producing and the leadership side of it is what I'm most passionate about. And I find my role in that like a pretty fun place to be. And it's kind of something that I can't help. Like I can't shut the fuck up. So like if somebody, I will, and especially if it's somebody's idea and they really want to see it all the way through, then I can kind of take pride in the engineering or take pride in the mixing and just be like, hey, like this is their thing. I'm gonna let this happen. But then if somebody really wants my advice, like it's like, do we have enough time to bring it to life? But a lot of times it is that it's just like, hey guys, like this song fucking rules, but this lyric is trash, or hey, you notice this song doesn't have a chorus, why don't we try to make up a chorus? Or that's whenever I get to do that, which is more and more, I feel like that's when that's when I have the best time, and I think that's when we're the most happy with what we make.
Yeah, it sounds like you're more of the sort of the invisible member of these bands instead of just being the weird guy at the sound bar at the sound studio just moving levers and stuff, trying to make it sound good. You're more interested in the actual product and the final product of the story of the song, basically.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love just like my favorite thing to do is work on a bunch of songs over the course of like a year or even 2 or 3, and just get together like once a month or get together once every couple months, and for a few days at a time. And then whenever a period of time is elapsed, because sometimes you'll be making a song and you're like, wow, this is our single, we're putting this out. And then maybe a month or 2 goes by and you're like, wow, I'm so glad we didn't put that out. That song is lame. But then if sometimes there'd be a song that maybe you didn't have a good day recording and you were like tired, or maybe everybody was bumming out in the studio for some reason. And then you hear it like 6 months later and you're like, wow, this was the best thing we did that whole week. And then you realize there's like this process that I believe in of allowing things to happen, and trusting yourself and trusting the people that you're with to, just and trusting the process to play out. And whenever you do that, it's like that's the difference in just like, I don't know, just make songs and making records. And I'm interested in making albums and developing stuff over time. That makes sense.
Yeah, for sure. Awesome. Yeah. So you're just talking about the your process, and we kind of being that invisible member, and you're more interested in making records. I want to talk about you guys, your process with your own band, Brave Baby. We talked to Kean, earlier this year, and he was, he's a big believer in the voice memo. What's the approximate number of voice memos and voice memo songs you've gotten from him? Specifically with his current stuff, and also with the Brave Baby stuff.
Oh wow, yeah. I mean, that's kind of our mode, and definitely with him. You'll just be me and him be texting back and forth, and all of a sudden there's a voice memo of like him in the shower singing a song. And that's the newest one we did the other day came from that, and just Kean singing by himself, and we ended up keeping pretty much all of it, the melody and the vibe, and attached it. My cousin Christian, he made a lot of the chords, and they did a first round demo, and then we got together the other day and laid down some drums, and just kind of added a lot more dynamics and some live stuff to it, and then made some kind of format changes to the song and everything. But yeah, as far as the voice memos, I specifically Keane, that's how he gets down for sure, and a lot of people do that way. And then I think he told you too once he was talking about the notes app too, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
He was scrolling.
And that's where you can say, that's where mine shit. I have a ton of stuff in the notes app, like, and it's anything from like weird acid journals to like just ideas. I'll be like, well, we should mic the drums over here, or I need to email this person or whatever. It's just like tons of notes. But then in the notes, you can save those voice memos and save recordings. And yeah, so
Yeah, he taught us
Very
the trick
cool.
that if you save a voice memo within the notes, then you can let your phone lock and it'll keep playing. Whereas with voice memos, it like pauses.
Absolutely. Yeah, and then the other thing too, in voice memo, you can stack up a lot of your MP3s and almost like make the album in one note, like put it all in order and fuck around with it like that, which is cool too. But yeah, and then what was the other part of your question? You were saying specifically Brave Baby. What's the process with that? I think that was.
I mean, just like, we were talking to Keen about it, and like, we were talking about specific songs of y'all with, obviously, Daisy Child, or a few that come to mind. I mean, like with those songs, I mean, what's your kind of, how involved were you in the writing process with those? And obviously you produce those as well.
Actually, I'm the low voice dude singing on that song, like the choruses and the outro and shit. And but that one started with me. I wrote the chorus just as like I don't know, it was like a mumble track. It's like, I thought about running wild with Daisy Child, whatever. And it was just like, and then Kim was like, yeah, that's just dope. And then next thing you know, we were playing the music to that. And then he had a verse, and we added, his verse was he wrote the melody and a lot of the lyrics to the verses, and I had the chorus and then the outro and stuff like that. And then kind of, and I also had that, like, I'll probably from a voice memo that that synth hook thing. I kept hearing that, and then so it's just like, especially back then, that was like how we would do it. We'd come up with ideas and just throw it at each other, and then when we got together, there's like a plane driving by, flying by. But when we would get together, that would kind of, we just throw everything together.
Nice. With obviously you work with a ton of the Charleston artists, and we've talked to a lot of them.
Dave Club,
what's
Crab
your
Claw, Two Slices, Keon Masters, Local Nomad. I mean, we got a lot of them.
what's your different, your different approach? Obviously you all got different personalities. Within, like, when you're talking with Crab Claw, obviously I think you're in that band as well, aren't you? Or you were whenever I saw him. I don't know if you are anymore, but
yeah. My wife definitely doesn't love that I'm always still in Crab Claw, but I'm joking. But yeah, that story too is a funny one, because this was like summer 2013. I was like, kind of, I'd had a bunch of cancellations or something in the studio that week, and I was like sort of bitching about it. And Walker was like, hey, I'll pay for the day at the studio today if you want to help me write a song. I'm like, you're not a musician. Why would we do it? He's like, no, I always wanted to write songs. So we got together, and it was like me, him, and Johnny Delaware. And then later Christian, also from Brave Baby, rolled up, and we wrote that first one, Carcassonne. And it was the first time Walker ever sang or anything. And at first it was like he couldn't get quite there. And so like we would get Johnny to sing the chorus, and we'd get Walker to like double Johnny. And then we would if Walker couldn't get it, we would auto tune it and be like, hey, it needs to sound kind of like this, and like show him the melody that way. And then he would sort of sing along with it. And then when we would play shows and stuff, he hadn't figured out like how to like get up there and sing it. So he would like almost scream like the whole set. But then nowadays he works at a karaoke bar, Bangkok Lounge.
Oh, yeah.
And he's actually a fucking great singer now. Or I should say he's a good singer now. and he's got control and he can hit all the notes. And so now when we get together and write crab call stuff, it's not as much like us telling Walker how to do things as much as like letting Walker do the Walker thing, you know. So
Absolutely. I mean, and I think that's the right way to be with Walker. I think you got to let him be him. I mean, because I think that he's like one of those people that, you know, we talked to one other person that I can hear that's a similar story to that. Like, Girl Puppy is here in Atlanta. They're playing with Babe Club actually here tomorrow. And she was like, yeah, you know, I really just kind of walked in the studio and I really could write lyrics and stuff, but I don't have any, you know, instrument, you know, experience. I have none of that. You know, she just goes in and she's able to hear the song the way she wants to hear it and write lyrics. And like,
Tomorrow's her first show ever.
Yeah. And so, well, no, it's not. I thought she wouldn't tour. She's got a tour booked. That's right.
Yeah,
she's got a tour
tomorrow,
booked.
she was like posting on Instagram the other day, like, what are some like tips to get over stage fright? Like, she's never performed anywhere, so it's insane that she's kind of blowing up. But yeah, Babe Club's coming to town, so we're Grant unfortunately can't go, but I'm pumped to see some Charleston music for the first time.
Hell yeah, dude! Babe Club's so good live, and Jenna is like, you know, I've known Jenna since before she was even like, she's always been a musician, but before she was like in the music scene, she was our friend, and she became friends with our buddy Tyler Burgess, who has a band Hermit's Victory, and they started playing music together. And then Jenna slowly started playing more stuff, and then she started dating Corey, and then Corey, like, they probably told you that story, but he got her into Susto and like taught her how to play the bass guitar in like 2 weeks, and within 2 weeks she was on stage playing bass in front of like 400 people.
Holy shit.
Yeah, and she did great, man. She picked it up fast, and like, she was such a added value to their live set. Like, she used to get in front of the audience and like start people clapping, and like she was just like really engaged. So, and then they're the same way with Babe Club. They just like they bring the house down. They bring a lot of energy, and they're so fun. And they're also just like, we used to call them the elves because they're so like cute and adorable, and they work fucking hard.
They always work hard. I love that. You know, it seems like, you know, Susto and you are kind of like everybody we talk to. You guys are like the two constants in every conversation we have. You know, so do you consider yourself like a godfather in the Charleston music scene? I mean, are you like Don Corleone, or what are we talking about here?
Nah, man. I'm just a worker bee. But I mean, maybe we are definitely, me and him are both dads now, so we kind of, the father vibes are rolling up on us for sure. And it is, I will say, lately it's been cool because I've been working with a lot more people who are like, I'm 33 and they'll be 23, or they're like 20. And the cool shit about that is like, when it was people my own age or even older, like the Band of Horses guys are about 10 years older than me. If I say an idea that's kind of wild, they're like, yeah, fuck you, Wolfie. Hi, if I tell the young kids, I'm like, hey, dude, this guitar tone that you guys got, we should make a custom guitar pedal for it. And they'll be like, fuck yeah. And the next thing you know, like 2 weeks later, they got it, you know? And shit like that. So it's like, it is cool as I'm getting older, getting to, I don't know, just like almost be that older brother role to people. And then like, you know, I still consider myself like in the producer world, I'm still young, and I still learn brand new shit every day, and learn how to deal with people. Like, you know, this whole, even like working on this Band of Horses album that I've been working on, like, we started it in 2017 in my storage unit as I was moving into the new space. And then they started it like legit with some real producers and everybody. And then there was like some of my demos just kept like still sounding like better than the ones that they were doing in the studio. And then finally they played me some of the bounces, and it like kind of stressed me out. I was like, I just thought that I thought they could do better, honestly. And it woke me up at like 4:00 in the morning. I had an idea on one of their songs. So I went to the studio and just like played drums and guitar and bass over top of one of his vocals and sent him like, why don't you do some shit like this? And he was like getting ready to hit the plane to go like on tour or something. He was like, yo, dude, this fucked me up. Will you send me some more? And I made another one like off the rip. And that other one is like actually on this album. and it's going to be one of the singles. But then that got me hired onto this project, and but I was like their little bitch, like fucking little bitch ass brother, and so I was like along for the ride. Like we recorded for 2 weeks at my spot, and then we went to Echo Mountain for 2 weeks, and then next thing you know, we're mixing at this dude Dave Fridman's house, who, like, if you just look up Dave Fridman, he's done like Tame Impala, Flaming Lips, MGMT, like all that shit, and some of my favorite albums. So it was like, next thing you know, I'm in the producer role with a band that it was one of my favorite bands growing up, with like my favorite mixer and producer, and they would have like beef or something in the middle of us working, or they'd have a disagreement, and everybody would be like, I don't know, Wolfie, what do you think? I'm like, God damn it. Well, I mean, I guess, yeah, let's go with this, and like learning how to like navigate egos and personalities and shit. And then next thing you know, like a few more months goes by, and like we wrote a few more songs, and then some sad shit went down. Like Ben and his wife ended up getting a divorce and are breaking up, and they or I think, yeah, not a divorce, they're not officially divorced, but they split up. And so all of a sudden, like, these really sad, like devastating songs started happening. So we started recording those, and then their management was like, oh shit, like when he heard some of that, he was like, I don't know, I kind of like the other album y'all did. Now you've got this like really sad music, and it's like super fucking weird. And so they were like, why don't you guys, there's an opening, we just found out from Rick Rubin, like there's an opening at Shangri-La like this coming Friday. You guys want to go out there and play him your demos? And we were like, this is like a long dream of mine, is like to make Rick Rubin. So this is like a Wednesday night. I like go to bed immediately, and I get to the studio like Thursday morning at like 4 again. I update the mixes or whatever, the roughs, and we fly out. We leave at like 12 Thursday. So it was like in a few hours. The next thing we know, it's like that Friday we're at Rick's studio in Shangri-La, and we're just playing him these like rough ass fucking bounces of songs. Like, not, I'm sure he's used to hearing shit like pretty top notch before it gets to him. And do you guys know who Rick Rubin is?
Yeah,
Oh,
we know
yeah.
Rick Rubin is.
Sometimes I mention him, and people are like, I don't know. Fuck
He's probably one of the few producers we do know. So
Yeah.
I mean, he's big time.
Then he's like, yo, I like all the really sad shit. I like this weird acid rock music. Like, maybe you guys got to go back and keep doing more of this. So the next thing you know, we go back. We're in Charleston. We're like continuing to write and record, and we just keep trying to make like just new music. And it kind of, from that point, we didn't get too much new shit done. It was kind of just like a sad, weird era. And that was like summer 2019. And then this dude Dave Sardi popped up, who he mixed their album Infinite Arms, and was like, yo, let me help you guys mix this album. And we're like, fuck yeah. So then next thing you know, we're like flying out to California, to LA, like once a month for like 3 months, November of 2019, December, and then January of 2020. And we finished the album, and then everything was getting ready to like get mastered and get ready to get like signed or put out. And then the fucking pandemic happened.
Oh my God.
Then I'm just having these nightmares. I'm like, this album's never going to come out. Like, it's just going to sit on the shelf and everything. And, but then the good news is like, I don't know, like with just how heavy the album is, it's like got a lot of sad shit. It's got a lot of heavy stuff. And it's also got some poppier shit too, that I think is just like fun. But I think the vibe of that album sounds more like the era that we live in now than it sounded like the era that we've actually made it in. If that makes sense. Like, I'm stoked for it to come out, because I think now it actually, I think people feel the way that the album feels. If that makes sense. Or I feel more like that. Whereas before, I think it was like house music, or a lot more like indie pop and all this shit. And then now it's like everybody's just gone through this heavy period. So I think like darker, weirder music is almost like more acceptable now, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I don't know how I got on that tangent, but anyways, it's been like just super far out. Like, being like a random dude, like playing drums, and then, ended up in a storage unit making a studio album. And then and actually how we met the Horses was through Susto. Because the first album we did, he loved it, and then he like sort of reached out to them and was like, I fucking love this album. And then like slowly me and Ben became friends, and like it's just kind of connected a lot of dots that I think otherwise they gave us a chance, and sort of like, I don't know, like like all of a sudden they were taking our friends' bands and shit on tour, and like just kind of otherwise we were like Charleston's really disconnected. It's like this little peninsula, and on and it's not, the rest of the country doesn't really know what's going on there. And to have somebody like him who's like been in an established band be like, dude, I see what the fuck you guys are doing, I love it. And like a lot of the instruments in my studio like our bands, like he basically just gave us a bunch of guitars, and our long-term leased us some shit or whatever. So he's been a huge help in kind of like connecting a lot of people with management, attorneys, and getting people on tours, and just kind of like tipping off a lot of the industry to what is going on in Charleston, which is like awesome, because I really believe we have something special, and we just have to, everybody's just got to keep busting their ass, and then the moment's going to come, and it's going to be like, holy fuck, there's like 25 amazing different bands popping out of this town that are like all friends, and like I have this dream of I hope we can like get all these tour buses and fucking do like a mini festival that tours, where we like basically play for like 2 or 3 days, like almost like 20 different people playing in like 10 different bands, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's like split the money, and like that's my dream. I hope it happens one day. Yeah.
That's amazing. Awesome. I mean, we've as we said earlier, we talked to, I mean, you've got to be the 6th, maybe 7th different, Charleston related artists, band, whatever it might be, that we've talked to. And it's awesome how y'all are all so interconnected. And that's some great insight there, that like Band of Horses, like we'd had a conversation with Babe Club about them, like since they weren't like originally from Charleston, people consider them a Charleston band, and they kind of explained the same thing. They're like, yeah, they've taken everyone sort of under their wings, and sounds like they're the godfather of Charleston music at this point.
Yeah, kinda.
100%. Like we were at one point, like we were like the little bitches. Sorry, I should say that. We were the little bitches. Now we're kind of all, like getting on older, and like, even Babe Club, like they used to be they were the young ones. They were like the 22-year-olds, 23-year-olds. Now they're like 27, 28. We're all like 32, 33 age, but, and just kind of even like all of us are like always trying to reach out to the younger kids and just like help them out and try to write records with them and just kind of keep this culture going. Cause like there's at any given day, you can just get with somebody, be like, hey, let's write a fucking song. And like, we don't know, like it could be for this band, it could be for this band. And I think that shit happens more and more all over the place. But also I know like Ben from the Horses, he's always like, dude, when I was in Seattle, that shit was not happening. Like you guys have something going on where, I don't know, we're like, it almost reminds me of like the 60s or something, where we're like, hey, I wrote this chorus. Like, do you want to play this song in your band? Or people will be like, fuck yeah, I want to play this shit,
Y'all like the Boogaloo Assassins. Not Boogaloo Assassins. What's that band that has like 20 different singers in it? God, I'm going blank. Never mind. I saw one time. It was insane. I didn't even know what was going on. But yeah, y'all just seem like you're one big band that just kind of has like side projects.
We used to always say we're like one amoeba with like a changing head or changing face, but it's all like the same people.
Thievery Corporation.
Yeah.
Y'all like Thievery Corporation.
Yeah, no doubt.
You are the 6th of the Charleston group that we've interviewed. So
podcast have we all done?
This is number 28, maybe.
So 6 out of 28, and you guys are from Atlanta. We're doing pretty good.
Well, this is number 26, and well, like what happened was, obviously I grew up with Danny Martin. Like I lived on 124 Cannonfield Road in Columbia, and so I grew up going to Danny Martin's house. I went to Danny Martin's house to watch 2002 Super Bowl. I mean, like I've been hanging out with him for years, and so I like kept in touch, followed him. He was with On or Off. That's probably a band you don't even know he was in. I mean, like On or Off, and then Octopus Jones. I saw him at North River. I saw them at North River. Seen him with Two Slices a couple times, and so Danny's a good family friend, and I was like, dude, I gotta. What's funny is Danny's time the first one we got on. It was freaking Walker because of my friends and I do this like dumb because of the Riverboat Ron video. My buddy and I do a hot dog eating contest every year because of my buddy Langston sank a beer pong shot like right as I Riverboat, right as I started Riverboat Ron. He sank the beer pong shot and was like, "Holy shit, Riverboat Vaughn right here!" And like it was over after that. And so I'm deep, but it's funny that I never lived in Charleston. I've only like I visited every now and then, but obviously I have some roots in South Carolina a little bit, but.
Dude, Danny's one of my favorite people of all time. Like, he's just so. The thing I love about Danny is like if somebody starts talking shit about someone, and like he'll like maybe let it happen for like 15 seconds, and then like somebody keeps going. He's like, "Hey, you know what? No, let's cut this shit off. We're not talking shit about people, you know." And I love that. Those are the people you want in your life, just not toxic, negative, just haters. You know what I mean? He's not one, and he really brings that spirit. And he like, not saying anybody sits around talking shit about anybody, but you know how people do that, and he'll just be like, "Hey, he fucking that's my boy," or "That's our girl." And God, he's one of the funniest fucking people ever. Like, I remember when Danny, like, he was living in Raleigh, and I got him to come down. It was when he was starting the Two Slices project, and I hadn't seen him in maybe like 3 or 4 years. And he came down, and he's like, his like little bald hair was like grown out, and he was called it the Greek mullet. And everything he said, we were just laughing so hard. And I remember feeling like my face, like I just remember like I can't laugh anymore because he's such a goober that if he knows he's got you, he's just gonna keep like driving it. You're like weak. So I love it.
I know that exact feeling. I mean, from just spending time with him, and dude, we used to play like these PlayStation games in his front room over the garage or the Frog. And so we would go up to the Frog and we'd play Poi Poi or Jet Moto 2. And like, dude, he would be he and my brother and I roll like pissing our pants because we were just like, dude, this guy's unreal. So, but I remember the funniest thing is like he had all of his shit in it. Like back growing up, he had all of his shit set up in the dining room, and like his poor mom never, I don't think, had a dining room table in that dining room. Like it was like band equipment or like Chicago Bears shit. Like, and I remember him like playing, and like the lights would flicker in the dining room because he was just playing so fucking loud. And of course, my brother's best friend is Mike D. Kozlowski, who is in Ned Durrett and the Kindly Gents.
Nice.
And so I've been following Danny for a while, but on that note, I think we need to get into Pete Peterson's party pack of questions, in honor of Danny, because he's such a goober, getting into these 20 questions. So we'll roll through rapid fire. Pete Peterson's party pack of questions. Here we go. Question number 1: cake or pie?
Pie.
Chips or pretzels?
Chips.
Sunrise or sunset? You live on the coast now.
Oh my goodness. Sunrise.
Sunrise. All right. He's having a beer right now. You like to drink those beers all day or drink beers all night?
Beers all night.
Beers all night. Let's go. Taco or burrito?
Burrito.
All right. What about tendies or wings?
Tendies.
With those tendies, you going to dip them in ranch or blue cheese?
Ranch.
Ranch man. All right. Are robots going to take over the world?
They already have.
Already have. Are aliens real?
Absolutely.
All right. Dogs or cats?
Cats.
He's the scat man, the cat man. What do we know about him? Let's go. Beer or wine?
Beer.
Queso or guac?
Queso.
All right. Orange or apple juice?
Orange juice.
Is love at first sight real?
Absolutely.
Salad or soup? What are you ordering?
Salad.
All right. If you show up to a party, are you more likely to do the worm or the robot?
The robot.
All right. You ever had circus peanuts? Those like orange peanuts you can get at the gas station?
Yep.
Did you like them?
No.
Damn it. All right. Would you rather go have an evening at the Bangkok Lounge or an evening at the Royal American?
That's tough. I'm gonna have to go with Royal, even though Bangkok's fun as hell, but Royal, I could see more people.
Okay. All right. And when you're cuddling up with your lady and your kid at night, you gonna watch a movie or a TV show on your streaming services?
I'm probably gonna watch a TV show, but my my wife's big on no TV in the room, so we just go blackout.
Blackout. He's reading a book, folks. All right, and this might be a hard one for you, but what are some bands we don't know that we ought to know and check out?
Gotcha. Man, there's a lot. Let me think. Well, this week I've been working with this band called Dead Swells. Have you heard of them?
I have not. No.
Paul's fucking awesome. He's like, what would he be like? He's almost like Beck and like Tame Impala had a baby, and he's also like slowly becoming a producer and a mixer and all that stuff too. So like this week I was working with him and he kept trying to get me to like play drums on his shit, and he played me the drums he did. And I'm like, your drums sound way better than mine. Why am I gonna read fucking drums? So he rules. I love. Oh, we have two buddies named Ray Deasy and D Money. They're in a rap group called Keep It Gullah. We've always tried to get them to like come up with a dope band name, but that's like their name they've had since like they were like 13. But they're like Charleston's Outcasts. They sing and they rap and they produce and then shit like that. They're just fucking cool as hell. Also, this guy named Contour, his name is Kari Lucas, and his girlfriend Nisi Blues. They're way too cool for me. Like I've tried to record them, I've tried to work out shit. Like they're just so fucking cool, and I love them a lot as people and as musicians and artists, and like and what they stand for. And then trying to think of who else off the dome. I'm gonna miss people, so I should probably not keep going with a long list.
Hey, that's good. Hey, three works for us, man. We obviously we try to feature them on our page and then give them some love and then hopefully give them on the pod.
And just get some good listens.
Yeah, and we want to get their vibe, but Wolfgang, we appreciate you, man, taking the time. I know it's a beautiful 8:00 evening out there in Charleston, so we thank you for spending a little bit of time with us, and we'll look for this to come out next week.
Great, dude.
Indiebnb.
Great talking to you guys.
Take it easy.
All right, take it easy.